Using ClickUp with Obsidian together. If you have tried using Obsidian alone, and you probably notice how great it is for thinking, planning, and connecting ideas. And if you have tried working ClickUp alone, you've probably felt how strong it is for execution, deadlines, and visibility. The problem starts when you expect one tool to fully replace the other. That's why using ClickUp and Obsidian together actually makes a lot more sense than trying to pick a single perfect system. In this video, I will show you exactly how these two tools can work side by side without friction, and how to decide what goes where, and how to avoid the common mistakes that make people feel like the setup is too overwhelming instead of it being helpful. There is one core rule, that is thinking versus doing. The most important rule is to understand that Obsidian is for thinking and ClickUp is for doing. That means in Obsidian, you are going to write your ideas, and these ideas are allowed to be as messy as you want it to be. There are no limitations or rules that this has to be precise. You can start brainstorming and it can stay unclear and incomplete. ClickUp is where these things are clear, actionable, and where they are time-bound. Once you understand the separation, the entire workflow becomes much easier for you. You don't open ClickUp to figure out what to do with your life. You open ClickUp to finish things you've already decided in, where Obsidian is going to come handy. In Obsidian, you want to store anything that requires a thought, context, or exploration, such as project notes or planning. Right here, there is a folder for project A. There are different note folders in here for script, ideas, and researches. I have linked notes together that you can later see in the graph view all together, which gives you a proper view of what's connected to what and where the concept lies. You can brain dump here and have your idea lists. You can research, references, and drop in links. Meeting notes or reflections can also be dropped here, and these are just going to be your drafts or your rough outlines. For example, if we are working on a YouTube project, we need scripts. You can start writing in your scripts. You can start writing in the ideas for your script or researches. Like right here, there are 3 ideas, like creating a new website with a new logo on OLX, and to assign a new script for general intros or outros. And for research, there are general casual style outros that we have to research on, and we have connected the ideas note with it because this is going to come in handy. Nothing here needs a deadline yet, it just needs a space to develop and to drop in your ideas. ClickUp, on the other hand, it is only for things that are ready to be executed. You have a clear view, and here are some actionable tasks on the screen. Deadlines and deliverables are visual. Client or team related work is done in ClickUp rather than Obsidian, because Obsidian is more of a personal walled space where you can drop in your ideas, brainstorm, and ClickUp is where the action actually takes place. Anything that must happen by a specific time, if a task still needs explanation or thinking, it probably belongs in Obsidian, not ClickUp. ClickUp should feel boring, and that's a good thing. Here's how we can put this in practice. You start your day in Obsidian, you write in context, like right here there are some of the ideas that I have worked on. Here are some of the research progress, or what I have to do for research. Now these are just notes and they don't have a proper structure. I'm going to go into ClickUp, and right here you can see that I need a general casual style outro and to work on C language. So I'm simply going to go on to my to-do list and write research on C language. Now this doesn't have a proper deadline yet, but I know exactly if its priority is low or high. Once you are sure about what needs to be done when, then you bring it to ClickUp. If you're unsure of your reasons, then you don't have to bring it to ClickUp and overcomplicate your workspace. Another thing that we needed to enter into ClickUp is general and casual outros. I'm simply going to type in here to generate an outro, like generate a casual outro, and just like that I can assign it and have my status updated. So let's say that I am working on this. I am going to put this in progress list so I know that these are being done. Right here, when you go onto the board, you can get an overview of all the things and all the lists that are available with their statuses, views, and everything. Just it's in front of you. You don't copy the entire note into ClickUp, what you have written into Obsidian. You simply just link back to it if needed. You can also add links in its description. You can simply click on it like there is to generate a casual outro. If you have written an idea or a script for what needs to be done, you can simply just add in the link here and connect it with Obsidian, which makes it really easy and reliable, and you don't have to go back and forth with Obsidian, search the folder, and then start working on it. To avoid the overwhelming feeling, keep your ClickUp setup super simple. You do not want to overcomplicate your workspace for yourself or your team members. Use one space for personal work and the other for work projects. Like this one is a space for work entirely. You can create another workspace for your personal work or your personal tasks that you need to complete, like personal work. We're going to click on continue, just starter, and create a space. Here on, you can write in your personal tasks that you need to finish with due dates and when they truly matter. This keeps ClickUp focused on execution instead of turning into another thinking space. A clean way to use the system is to think daily and review weekly. Each day starts in Obsidian where you are writing your plans, you journal, or you reflect, and ClickUp only comes into play once the decisions are made and final. Once you have a clear vision of what needs to be done, you can move it to ClickUp. At the end of the week, you can review ClickUp to see what shipped into Obsidian to see what you learned. This rhythm prevents task overload and keeps both tools aligned with their strengths. Now, here are a few mistakes and tips that usually break this setup and how you can avoid these mistakes by working with both these applications all together. First is that you cannot turn Obsidian just strictly into a task manager. You need to avoid this because this is not going to be a structured application where all your notes are organized. This is going to be a rough idea of your notes. Of course, you can keep them organized in Obsidian as well, but this is more of a note app and ClickUp is more of a structured task management tool. Another thing you should avoid is using ClickUp for vague or emotional tasks. If you have a rough idea of your tasks that are emotional or something you personally need to do, they can stay in Obsidian and you don't have to actually bring it to action. Another thing you should avoid is over customizing ClickUp way too early. You do not want to use all of these key features at once. It is going to make your workspace feel like there is too much going on. You can simply just ignore these tools at first, and later, once you get a grasp of the application, you can start using these tools one by one. Reminder, you only need to use these tools once you really need them. You have to make your workspace easy and simple. You don't need to overcomplicate it by adding too many tools or key features. One last thing you need to avoid is constantly switching between apps while thinking. If you need to think, you can clearly do it in Obsidian until you are sure of what needs to be taken to Obsidian to give it a clear structure and to start working on your task. You don't need to keep switching between these applications or just using ClickUp as a thinking tool along with Obsidian. That way, you're going to have two of these applications working and running all together side by side, and it's better you avoid these, because if you avoid these, the system stays lightweight and sustainable. If we talk about why this combination works long term, is that it's going to stay powerful and it is going to respect how you work and what actually is happening. Thinking comes before doing, and doing needs structure. Obsidian gives you the freedom to work without pressure, and ClickUp, on the other hand, it gives you pressure without chaos. Together, they create a balance instead of a burnout. You are not forcing creativity into checklists, and you are not letting execution drift endlessly into notes. Before we wrap this up, remember that tools are only useful if they reduce friction in your life. Another common questions when using ClickUp with Obsidian is knowing when something should move from one tool to the other. Like I said, you don't need to use both of these tools side by side while thinking and creating ideas. If you move things too early, ClickUp is going to fill up with vague tasks. that is later going to overcomplicate your workspace and your working flow. If you move things too late, projects stay stuck in thinking mode and the transition point really matters. A simple rule that works well is that if the next step can be completed without any more thinking, it belongs into ClickUp. If you still need to figure things out and you still have doubts about what needs to be done next, or if you have options of your execution that there are two possible outcomes, then it can still stay in Obsidian until you are sure of it. Obsidian is your decision-making space, while ClickUp is your commitment space, where you are only going to bring tasks here once you are sure. For example, let's say that you are planning a client project. You have done work with research, but you still have some ideas left out that later you want to research on and then turn them into scripts. That means you're not going to take these ideas into ClickUp, you're going to take these scripts and the research topics into ClickUp once you are sure. You can even make this transition smoother by linking directly from the ClickUp task back to the Obsidian node. You can just go on to your task description. Right here, let's go on to work, and you can see one of these tasks like research on C language, and you can see that there is some notes written under C language in Obsidian. You can simply just link this note together in here or add it in the description. Another helpful habit is to do this transition intentionally rather than constantly. Instead of moving tasks back and forth throughout the day, look at your Obsidian notes and decide which actions are ready to be committed. Then bring them to ClickUp and simply turn these notes into actions. This keeps your intention clear and your attention focused and prevents unnecessary content switching. Over time, this decision point becomes automatic and you will start feeling when a task is ready for ClickUp, and your system will feel much lighter and more reliable. Before we wrap up, remember that tools are only useful if they reduce friction in your life. If a system feels heavy or stressful, it usually means it is doing too much. Take what works from this setup, ignore what doesn't, and build a system that fits the way you actually think and work. If this video has helped you understand how to use ClickUp and Obsidian together more effectively, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more practical, no fluff tutorials like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.